Okay, so video game we're playing today is Starcraft 2. We're going to be playing a sub-mod called Parasite Alpha. Best way to describe it is if you've seen the movie The Thing, or John Carpenter's The Thing. Not the remake, the original. It's very much similar in the person is the alien. We don't really know who it is. There's also somebody who's called the Scion, so they can either help the crew or they can work against them, but they're not really on the alien side either. They're sort of a third party that acts independently, so they have to kill everyone and everything to win. So basically, each player has their own role and figure out which role I'll be playing this game. We can talk more in depth about that, but everyone's got a pretty essential role, some more essential than others. Like there's the less important roles, there tends to be overlap, like the miners, for example. There's usually 3 of them in a game. So they're basically in charge of getting the income up for the players to get better equipment. Security guards are another role that's not as important. There's usually about 3 of them in a game too. They're mainly looking after the security of the station and the moon base, which we may or may not see, depending on how long this game is. Games can last anywhere from an hour and a half to a minute. It really depends on how lucky, or in some cases, how well skilled the crew is at finding who the alien is. Ultimately, you just want to keep your eyes open, keep track of the chat between team members to see if anybody's lying or if their stories don't add up, or usually a good sign is if somebody's not responding. They become very suspect at that point. The reason behind that is usually the alien won't be talking while they're in their alien form. They alternate between human form and alien form, and that's what ultimately makes it difficult to figure out who the alien is. There is no indicator at the beginning to determine who the alien is. You'd have to see them transform in front of you, and even then they might infest you, in which case you can't talk over the radio until you're cleaned.
Welcome, Commander.
Okay, so we've got private, so that's the security guard button.
Infestation source detected. Alert. Class 12 psionic waveform detected.
So at the beginning of the game, there's a lot of crates scattered throughout the map. You just want to get through those and get some early equipment addition right off the bat. So the little halo that appeared above my head, that's an ability that the Doctor has early on in the game, and that's a testing device to see if somebody is an alien or not. The accuracy is only about 50%, so there's a 50% chance that it's going to be wrong and say you're clean even if you are the alien. It'll never misidentify you as the alien though, so you don't have to worry about that. This is the second floor. There's a bunch of floors on the station, so each time you go through what I just went over here, there's a little cooldown, and then you're essentially just taking an elevator to another floor. You get a little caption here explaining what floor level it is and what the purpose of that floor is. For the medical bay, it's mainly medical supplies. Later on in the game, you'll see over here, it's the blood tester. That also has a percentage accuracy of testing people. It's kind of like what the doctor's doing with the halo effect. But there will be a countdown, and then it'll say in big letters across the screen whether or not that person is identified as the alien.
Activating automated defense turrets.
So you just heard activating defense turrets. If you saw before, all these turrets were grayed out before, but now they have a color to them. Basically, when they're grayed out, that means they're inactive. They can't do anything to you. At the beginning of the game, the captain has jurisdiction over who can be targeted by the turrets. He's got a little selection panel on the bridge. Also, if you type in the word handles, that'll show you the person's gamer tag next to their rank and name in game. In this particular subplot, your name will always display as your character's name, not as your gamer tag. So it's just a little extra thing to keep track. So again, going back to the blood tester here, you'll see that the door is locked right now. Basically, only the doctor, I think the lieutenant can get in there too, and the captain. The captain has a captain.
Activating automated defense turrets.
Okay, so you'll see there for. And like I said, anywhere from a minute to an hour and a half.
Our allies
This one was only about 4.5 minutes. We figured out who the alien was. Okay, so going back to the blood tester before, like I was saying, it won't display a halo effect, but it's generally the same principle. If you go up to the blood tester, like if you're the doctor, or if you want to unlock the ability, you have to pay to unlock certain abilities on the game. It'll work in the same way in the sense that there's a percentage chance that it'll get your diagnosis wrong. I think if the doctor, because you're supposed to get your role-specific upgrades, because it grants extra bonuses. So, for example, if you're the doctor and you get the blood tester, there's a 70% chance that the blood tester will diagnose you correctly, but if anybody else gets it and it's not their role, I think it's only about 50% chance of a correct diagnosis. If you're infested as the alien and you're getting your role-specific upgrades though, you'll usually get a buff on the alien side or a debuff to the ability. So going back to the blood tester again, the percentage chance of a correct diagnosis I think drops, but also the infested alien. The only thing you have to watch out for with the blood tester is if you get silent infested, or if you're, which will happen from time to time. So it won't show up immediately that you're infested, it'll being an infested alien. Just had a window pop up there. I'm not sure if it popped up on screen, but yeah, going back to the blood tester, it's a very useful device, but you just have to be careful not to kill the wrong people. There's also a karma system in this game where you'll start to get debuffs if you kill too many innocent people. One of the main, sorry, sorry about that. One of the main issues with this game right now um, is the amount of trolling in the community, and I think a lot of that comes from misunderstandings of people team killing each other when they think they are the alien, and then it turns out that they're an innocent. People, of course, get upset about that, but it leads to these, I think, longer-lasting feuds that ultimately get innocent people caught in the crossfire. I think a lot of people get fed up in the long run, and then they just end up throwing games, which is unfortunate because this is a very well-made game, probably one of the best mods on Starcraft 2 right now. But the community really does a disservice for it.
Welcome.
Okay, so you'll see here it says species Scion. So we got the
Infestation
Scion
source
this time.
alert. Class 12 psionic waveform detected.
So we can choose to either help the crew, in which case we're just another crew member, but we've got some additional buff points. The other option is we turn against the crew, in which case we're essentially on our own. That being said, being evil Scion can be fairly entertaining. It does give you more free range to kind of mess around with the crew, I'm guessing. Creators, months in their midst, that kind of thing. So these little tankers here, if you put an explosive next to them, say for example, something like this, the thermite charge, it'll catch fire and explode, and if you're right underneath the blast, chances are you're going to die if you don't have any upgrades. You can use this device here, the thermal shield, that will block any explosive damage, 100%. Back for more recent updates, so you can see our role is a deep space miner. All the deep space miners started with thermite charges, and this led to not so fun trend of people throwing explosives down very early on, just blowing them up, seeing who they could get, or just for shits and giggles kind of thing. You'll see here we have some ships. This is the bottom, or the first floor. We have all these ships, and this is where we do our mining. As the name suggests, with Deep Space Miner, all the mining comes in space. There's a lot of crystals outside that you mine for extra income. You gain an immediate buff, not as passive income, but like as a one-time gain. But if you collect, if you go down here, it'll show player's income, so it's 171 per minute. Every 60 points worth of minerals that you collect as a deep space miner buffs every player's income by a certain amount. So for you as the miner, that stacks with your initial gain of mining that specific crystal, but also you get the passive income buff as well. So there's a lot of money to be made as a miner. That being said though, you don't really have any role specific upgrades that you want to get on the station, so mainly you want to save your income to get personal buffs and become a real tanky player at the end of it. Especially for longer games, it's a good long run strategy. You'll see here we're just waiting at the moment. We can't really start mining until the 5-minute mark. I don't think there's any particular reason for this. I think it's just a game mechanic to delay the mining a bit. But you'll see here, we'll get into one of these. And you go up to this panel, click on that, and your ship takes off. And that little red line are mines in space. They have a habit of really messing up. See also with these, there's asteroids in here, and again, It's a minor damage effect, but it can really stack if you don't watch where you're going. You do have the option of attacking them though. There you go. Yeah, you can see it just disappears when you can hear the banging sound. You do have a couple of options though, like you can get repairs. You see some of these are bigger and smaller, so the smaller ones, as a space miner, will give you 2 points. They give you 2 points towards your passive income modifier. The bigger ones give you double, so they're worth 4 points towards your passive income. Like this one here. So, we have what's called a cosmic storm coming, so that basically means you can't continue space operations. We're gonna land on the moon right now. Just have to wait for the door to open to leave our ship. You actually get a movement debuff being on the moon, just because it's always snowing.
Your allies are in battle.
So we're going to take a look around the moon base right now. See if we find some extra income or items. This has got some biological buffs for your character. You can kind of see through them here, what they all do. But I think we're going to skip out on those for now.
Consciousness awakened.
You, however, want the stim pack. So these turrets here, they'll damage anyone except yourself that comes within their blast
Upgrade
radius.
complete.
So, friend or foe. So we're gonna, this is where you upgrade your weapon damage.
Upgrade complete.
So there's a very basic one. There's also one specific to any rifle. I think we're just gonna grab 2 of these to start.
Upgrade
there we go.
complete.
You can see these were gray before, and now they're colored. So that means they're on. So we'd be in deep trouble if we ever get targeted by those for any reason. Oh, here's a good bit of luck. This is a much better weapon. It's a similar principle to the Gauss rifle, it's just it does way more damage. Oh, and this is where you get your health upgrades. So we're gonna grab one. You can get either upgrades to your armor and
Upgrade
health, or you
complete.
can start upgrading your shields. So you can see now I got 50 shield points on top of my health. So yeah, you can see severe blizzard warning. So on the moon, this means you move even slower than you were before. And you also take damage to your health. The only exception to this is if you get into a suit of some kind. So for example, all deep space miners start with SCV suits. I'm gonna pop in there. And now you can see I'm not taking any damage to my health or anything. We are, however, going to go back to mining now, because the cosmic storm has disappeared. You can see even the ships take damage.
Your allies are in battle.
Now we're just gonna take off.
Activating automated defense turrets.
Oh, there's a lot out here.
Your allies are in battle.
I'm not sure if they worked out all the kinks with the asteroids yet, because they don't seem to quite line up as to where they hit you.
Upgrade complete.
So the Marshal has a log located on the second floor that can only be accessed by the sergeants and I think the lieutenant, or sorry, not the sergeants, the security guards, I think the lieutenant. Yeah, this is going to be annoying if the alien is going for the moon build. So the moon build is basically the alien will go to the moon and infest that, and then we essentially have to go to him, but that almost always guarantees a long game, because none of the crew is going to go down to the surface of the moon until we know we can defeat the alien. And that usually takes a long time of upgrading for personal buffs. So, the other thing I should mention is if the alien infests you, you can become an alien with him. You can join the alien side. Which is actually a good thing about this game. So, you know, once you die, you're not necessarily dead. That only applies if you get infested. Yeah, so we've been getting these things called side points. So these are essentially the extra buffs you get as a scion. That's the end of the scion abilities here. So you can't unlock the evil or the chaotic skills until you've killed a crew member and you know you're going to be playing the evil branch. So you can win along with the crew until you kill someone as a scion. In which case, you're on your own team. You can't change it.
waveform detected. Scale unclassifiable.
Your allies are in battle.
Yeah, you can see some people are too quick to jump the gun there. So the CIO is another term for the lieutenant or LT.
Your allies are in battle.
You see somebody asked like one question, they freaked out and they said, hey, you should target them. But it doesn't really work like that. There's a lot of ways people can deceive you or be wrong. So you have to
Your
know when to
allies
strike.
are in battle. Upgrade complete. Upgrade
I'm gonna buy some
complete.
more health upgrades here.
Upgrade complete. Your allies are in battle.
So it's pretty, just not to make things too confusing, I think we're gonna go Scion and help with the crew. So we're gonna get the righteous skills. So I got a notification earlier saying there was an unknown alien vessel. So right now that vessel is attacking us, and that's why we're getting notifications saying the health of the station is dropping to like 60%. No, it's 50%. So we have to destroy the alien ship, but the only people who can access the wheel to the station to actually fight it in space are the captain and the engineer. Well, in the early game at least. Now it's somebody's
Your
gotta go.
allies are in battle.
Yeah, this isn't looking good.
Upgrade complete. Your upgrades are in battle. Upgrade complete.
Personnel must evacuate.
Okay, so this is what happens when the station gets destroyed. The emergency drop pods automatically pop up, so you have the option of taking those, or you can just grab one of the ships and go down. So there's no saving the station at this point, so it's really easy just to take a drop pod. There's one located on each floor. So just to show you guys what it looks like, I'm going to take this lovely ship we did before. You'll see the alien ship or predator. We almost died there. Again, you want to be careful.
Your allies are in battle.
But now we're about to hit the surface. See the frame rate's really going down. So this will fix itself.
All personnel must evacuate.
So we got the host, but you see there's still some alien spawns alive. So that means he's infested some people on the other side. So really want to get inside. Hopefully it's not.
Upgrade complete.
This isn't good for us.
10, 7, 6,
Yeah, we're probably gonna die
5,
here.
4, 3, 2.
And there it is.
Warning. Psionic waveform detected. Scale
So in this case, yeah, where the
unclassifiable.
Scion is, it'll give a notification saying that the Scion has been killed. But you can see it follows one of the bigger mechs that the alien can get into. Well, anybody can get into it, really. We'll do more parts, just kind of outlining everything. This is just kind of a basic run-through more so than a tutorial. But this is the game in its essence. So you can see this game's been going on for about 24 in-game minutes, relative to the other one that lasted about 5, and this could easily go on for a while longer. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look into Parasite Alpha. I'll probably post some more videos about this soon, but I hope you all have a good day.